The Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. Whether you are here in person or online, we are so glad that you are joining us. My name is Valerie Brown, and I will be your service associate today. And when I say today, it's not an ordinary day, like they said. Today, we have Peace Corps participants, service folks with us. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what they have to say and welcoming you to our service. Just a little housekeeping. Please set your cell phones to silence so that we can be present with each other. The service is being live streamed now in a small lounge near the main entrance of this building. So if this room gets feeling too large for you, or you would like to have a smaller space, you're welcome to go there. We are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whoever you love, you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are different each week, so that we can learn and honor our wide array of traditions and beliefs. Today, our speaker is our very own Jurgen Zirstein. He has served in the Peace Corps recently and just came back, so we will have some fresh insights into Peace Corps service. And I also want to welcome others who are with us today who have served in the Peace Corps as part of the Peace Corps response. For Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice is a symbol of the light of learning and the love of our community. As our congregation chalice is lit, we invite you to light your own chalice at home. This morning, our chalice will be lit by Richard Thornton. Richard served in the Peace Corps in Afghanistan from 1969 and 1971. And he recently offered a course in the Lifelong Learning Society of Lifelong Learning on this experience, and actually had a speaker from Afghanistan. So thank you very much, Richard, and thank you for your past service and continuing service. As the chalice is lit, please join us in singing hymn number 362, Rise Up, O Flame. Words are on the wall. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Our opening reading will be given by Heath Ray. Heath was in the Peace Corps in Tanzania from 2006 to 2008.
Hey, good morning. Pleasure to be here this morning. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to see new faces and some familiar faces. Now a modified excerpt from the Peace Corps website. It says, after a day of campaigning for the presidency, Senator John F. Kennedy arrived at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor on October 14th, 1960, at 2 a.m. in the morning to get some sleep at this time. But members of the press, they had already retired for the night, believing that nothing else interesting would happen. But 10,000 students at the university were waiting to hear the presidential candidate speak. On the steps of the Michigan Union, the assembled students heard the future president issue a challenge. How many of you are going to be doctors, are willing to spend your days in Ghana? Technicians and engineers, how many of you are willing to work in the Foreign Service and spend your lives traveling the world? On your willingness to do that, not merely to serve a year or 2 years in the service, but your willingness to contribute a part of your life to this country. I think the answer depends on if a free society can compete. And I think it can. I think Americans are willing to contribute, but the effort must be greater than anything ever in the past. This reaction was both swift and enthusiastic. So a bold new experiment in public service was launched, an international volunteer organization known as the Peace Corps. Since 1961, more than 240,000 Americans have responded to the enduring challenge, and for more than 6 decades, the Peace Corps has demonstrated how the power of an idea can capture the imagination of an entire nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Heath. Our first hymn this morning is Morning Has Come. It will be in your teal hymnal, page 1000. Please rise in body or in spirit as you feel like it. Oh, thank you. That sounded great up here. Please, next we plan to have a unison reading of our church's covenant statement. So please read with me. We promise to live in harmony and civility with fairness, tolerance, acceptance, and celebration of our diversity. We commit ourselves to enthusiastically support of our fellowship and of Unitarian Universalist tradition through our individual gifts and talents. We will now sing our children to their religious exploration. We will be singing hymn number 1057, Go Lifted Up. It's in your teal hymnal or on the... Let's take a few moments for meditation, reflection, prayer, and center ourselves. The singing bowl will lead us into silence, and after the silence, you're invited to join in the song, Spirit of Life. The words will be on the screen. Unitarian Universalists have a wide array of beliefs, and the speakers at our Sunday services come from many traditions. Today, we are very privileged to hear from Jurgen. Jurgen grew up in a small town of Brühl near Heidelberg in Germany. He earned an interdisciplinary MBA in organizational leadership, management, information technology, and finance. He spent much of his career working for large steel corporations in Germany, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The building of the Zirstein cold-rolled steel plant in the Transpark brought him to Bowling Green. He is the father of grown sons who live with their families in Atlanta and in the Detroit area. He makes regular visits to see them and to spend time with his 3 grandchildren, Clara, Owen, and Isla. Today, he is early retired and very happy about it. He enjoys exploring spirituality and learning about cooking. He stays active with cycling, yoga, and scuba diving. Today, he will speak about his recently completed year of service in Botswana with the Peace Corps Response Program. Jurgen, looking forward.
Good morning. My name is Jurgen Zirstein, and I thank you for inviting me to speak today. After retirement and other life-changing events, I looked for a spiritual community. I was so happy to find this congregation. I love it here. You have provided me with input and community that support me in carrying my most meaningful life. This is a home for my spiritual growth. Not all you youth believe the same things. We don't ascribe to specific creeds like many other denominations do, but we do generally agree on certain principles. Of those, these 3 lie especially close to my heart and will guide today's presentation. The 4th principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Our 6th principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. The 7th principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. In this part of my life, I knew that I wanted to embark on new search for truth and meaning. I wanted to serve and care for others. I wanted to contribute to peace in the world, and doing so, I also feel strongly that all beings and the natural world around us are connected. But how do I put these values into action? Laura said, "Why don't you look in the Peace Corps?" I had no idea what the Peace Corps was. Was it a peacekeeping force like the blue helmets of the United Nations? Why would I want to join a military unit? Man, were my assumptions about the Peace Corps wrong. After learning more, I applied and was accepted in February of 2023. I became a Peace Corps response volunteer for a term of 1 year. My professional background matched the needs of the country of Botswana, where economic strengthening specialists had been requested. Before I proceed, let me be clear that all the opinions I share are my own. I do not claim to speak for the people of Botswana, the government, or the Peace Corps of Botswana. During my year abroad, I wrote 500 pages of diary, and Laura and I took 8,000 photos. For today's presentation, I carefully selected to share my UU and and Peace Corps journey with you. A big thank you for Laura for her assistance. I'm going to be really honest with you. I barely knew anything about Botswana before I applied and served there. Let me set the stage for you. First, let's see where Botswana is located. The continent of Africa consists of 54 countries. It's over 3 times the size of the entire United States, including Alaska. Botswana is in the south-central part, just below the equator, north of the country of South Africa. Botswana has 2.1 million inhabitants and is about the size of Texas. To orient you, the red arrows point to the capital city of Gaborone, to Francistown, the location of my assignment, to Hansi to the west, Okavango Delta to the north, and Serowe to the east. More than half of the country is covered by the Kalahari Desert, which has sand-covered plains, savanna grassland, and occasionally denser vegetation. As for its history, Botswana was never a colony of one of the European powers, as many of its neighbors were. It was, however, a protectorate of the United Kingdom. The UK invested very little in development. The land that is now known Botswana was home to many tribal peoples, some of whom moved about. The largest was the Bekoana, hence the name Botswana that we use today. In 1966, Botswana and its former chief gained independence, and its former chief, Seretse Khama, was elected president. Botswana can proudly say it has the longest uninterrupted democracy in Africa. Botswana never experienced apartheid like its neighbors in South Africa, Namibia, and Zimbabwe, former Rhodesia. Apartheid is a system of segregation and discrimination on the basis of race. The nation of Botswana explicitly values a peaceful coexistence of the races. The black and white stripes on the flag and the zebras on the coat of arms represent this. Diamond mining generates funds that help the government provide a substantial social net to its citizens. The following resources provide additional information about Africa and Botswana. Dipo Faloyuni's 2020 book about Africa is not a country tells about colonialism and its lasting effects on African nations and peoples today. The 2016 movie, A United Kingdom, tells the story of the founding of modern Botswana. And you may have heard of the book series, The #1 Ladies Detective Agency. At the Warren County Public Library, you can check out a DVD with about 6 episodes. Truly delightful and informative. Today, Botswana is generally a peaceful and democratic nation. The government recognizes 12 ethnic groups and 31 languages. The people of many of the tribes of Botswana are black, but not all. Some of the most original peoples, the Basaba, also called the Sun or Bush people, are brown. The Afrikaners, descendants of Europeans, mainly Dutch, are white. The official government languages are English and Setswana. Setswana bears no resemblance to English or to any other European languages, making it very challenging to learn. Let me introduce myself. Kebidua Jurgen. Ketswa kwa United States. Nege le moya topi va Peace Corps. Kena qua Francistown, me ke itumilela ho tsane mo ngangang is qua ntle, Kellerbuch. Maybe you understood part of it, but that is what it looks like. Peace Corps volunteers are called to promote world peace and friendship by fulfilling 3 goals. First, to help the countries interested in meeting their needs for training. Second, to help promote a better understanding of Americans on the part of the people served. And third, to help promote a better understanding of other peoples on the part of Americans. With those goals in mind, I embarked on my Peace Corps experience. The Peace Corps team in Botswana greeted 7 response volunteers at the airport of Gaborone. The Peace Corps took care of all of the arrangements during our orientation phase, and we felt safe. We had 3 weeks of training near the capital city, and we were matched with a local family to spend a day at home with them. The mother of my host family, Ma Motsumi, gave me the Setswana name that I used all year. Everyone knew me by that name. It is Loeto, which means travel to visit somebody. Loeto. The Peace Corps is not for everyone. One volunteer did not finish training and went back to the United States, then we were 6. 2 were assigned to the DREAMS program. DREAMS stands for Determined, Resilient, Empowered, AIDS-Free, Mentored, and Safe, especially designed for women. 4 Peace Corps response volunteers, I'm among them, were employed as economic strengthening specialists. There was a swearing-in ceremony, and then we were shipped off to our destination. Once on location in Francistown, my true Peace Corps experience began. I learned to do everything I needed to do to take care of myself in my new home. Shopping, laundry, cooking, laundry, and house cleaning in an orderly fashion. I arrived at work every morning at 7:30 as instructed and followed the lead of my assigned counterparts. I made headway on initiatives I thought I could accomplish. I even considered extending my stay another year if Laura could join me. I can assure you that my true Peace Corps experience was not a story of everything working out perfectly. What happened in the course of the year challenged me in my search for truth and meaning. In my learning about the religious traditions of the world in this church, I had been exposed to the term attachment in Buddhism and how that can become a source of suffering. In my training with landmark education, I learned about how people make meaning of things and how we can choose to shift that meaning. I had to rally the utmost within me to arrive at what I have today, and that is a sense of satisfaction with my Peace Corps service. Here's how it happened. You might have noticed that I'm German. To play on a stereotype for a moment, I'm generally organized and efficient, and I accomplish what I set out to do. I am systematic in my approach, I like to plan, and I value accurate documentation. Do you sense a potential conflict on the horizon? I did not. It took a while. Let me explain. My Peace Corps assignment was capacity building, consulting and project work as an economic strengthening specialist. A few years back, the government of Botswana had established the so-called Poverty Eradication Program. It gave individuals and groups equipment and training to become small business owners. One of my roles was to train the beneficiaries of that program in basic business management. My assigned location of Francistown, a city of just over 100,000 inhabitants, reported 737 projects. I thought I would be extremely busy. I even panicked a bit. How could I handle so many projects? Man, I was wrong. In the course of the year, I saw just one business operating, and the owner was unwilling to come in for training. The rest was not operational or not interested in learning how to run a business. My local colleagues in the Community Development Office organized a market day once a quarter to introduce the beneficiaries to more customers. On this particular day, which was typical, they invited 24, but only 3 showed up. The poverty eradication program was apparently not operational. I encourage local officials to recognize that. It seemed that the coaching of small business owners was not going to happen. So I need to reorient. I shifted my efforts and utilized the training materials provided by Peace Corps while also drawing on my own business experience. I conducted interviews for a needs assessment for the district and held workshops utilizing SWOT analysis with local wards. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The SWOT analysis provided the basis for the community's need assessment and would have been a good idea-generating activity if there would have been a follow-up. There was not, despite my best efforts. I had been assigned to build capacity. I was to do that by offering training. And I created 8 workshops based on the Peace Corps PARCA tools. PARCA stands for Participatory Analysis of Community Action. Who came up with that? I also custom designed 4 workshops in computer literacy. Unfortunately, management only wanted 2 workshops. One on computer literacy and one on project design and management. Can you see the pattern emerging? I was beginning to see one. I had to stop again and reassess. I decided to use my connections to find service opportunities. I also became more flexible and willing to travel where I was needed, even if my travel was not reimbursed. My fellow Peace Corps response volunteer colleague in Kendal in Hansi requested assistance. She needed help conducting workshops there and developing tracking spreadsheets for beneficiary data. The office to which I had been assigned in Francistown was not interested in more training. So I traveled to Hansi. Laura joined us in October as we led workshops in basic business management for small business owners. We conducted 3 workshops with about 60 participants in total. Kendal's networking talent also led to an invitation to the cheetah conservation project near Hansi, where we led the staff in a goal-setting workshop. Back in my home community, I continued to connect by attending cultural and social service events. This was an event hosted by a local candidate. Being present, observing, and talking with leaders and participants gave me valuable insight that helped me adapt culturally. Accepting and adapting to these differences helped me reorient myself in providing service. I learned that in Botswana's culture, time is unimportant. As some of the events began later and ran hours longer than announced. I also noticed that planning is not done at all or is incomplete. Non-planning is compensated through a high level of activity shortly before the event. Group harmony is more important than getting the job done. Those are big differences compared to German culture. Here are a few events which I participated. This was a meal preparation for the Independence Day celebration. Cooking took place over an open fire with sticks to steer the parts. This typical Botswana meal consisted of beef, chicken, goat, corn mash, and vegetables. And it was served as lunch for the community. There was also a physical activity day for seniors. I'm really not a runner, but others wanted me on the team. So I ran the last leg of a relay in the over 60 age category. And I took part in a sponsored walk for mental health awareness. During Laura's third visit in December and January, we provided service together in several contexts. While I created reporting spreadsheets and provided training in Hansi, Laura offered 3 days of art workshops for the Basava, or San people, living in the settlement village of Dakar near Hansi. The San are indigenous tribes who traditionally occupied parts of the Kalahari Desert as hunters and gatherers. When the government created the Kalahari Game Reserve for tourism purposes, it limited their hunting rights and set up housing, schools, and medical facilities for them outside of that reserve. Many Basava are resentful because they feel that the government has deprived them of their way of life. This situation reminds me of the forced relocation of Native American peoples in the US and the continuing trauma associated with the loss of culture. After each day of creativity with Laura, she invited the artists to show their art and talk about it. Here we go. Sorry. Pretty colorful, isn't it? In the last weeks before my departure, I was busy. I supported the Kuro Art project in Dakar in business management. Kuro Art is an independent organization that supports the Basava in making art, selling it on site, and supplying exhibitions worldwide. At Kuro's request, I analyzed 3 years of their profit and loss statement and consulted on future steps to increase profitability. Additionally, the governing board of the Karma III Memorial Museum in Zirstein invited my response volunteer colleague Kathy and me to lead a strategic planning workshop. The 2-day workshop included a SWOT analysis and provided a framework for developing a 3-year action plan. The last few weeks in Botswana were very busy, with more than enough projects to work on. I was learning that relationship building takes time and patience. A year after they began together, the 3 Peace Corps response volunteers who completed the full term of service gathered in the capital city. It was time for Peace Corps checkout procedures and a final celebration. What are some of the things that I learned during my year? How did I grow? Where does it lead me? When I started my service in Africa, I thought I was invincible. For me, that meant that I was emotionally stable and that nothing would get under my skin. Man, I was wrong. I found, for instance, that there was very little social interaction with my neighbors and with the community members. I was told that my lack of Setswana language skills limited my accessibility to my neighbors, and they had difficulties communicating with me. And the Peace Corps did not want the volunteers to get together because we were supposed to focus on the communities we serve. I became lonely. Even the daily Zoom calls with Laura did not save me from a meltdown on my birthday in August, when I felt very, very alone. The Sunday streaming of the UU service was a highlight. I was there online with you nearly every week. I appreciated the connection with you all. In addition to being lonely, I got frustrated because I had nothing to do, as the management of the government office I was assigned to was not interested in my skill set. I asked myself, what the heck am I doing here? Objectively, I saw disinterest in the skills I could offer. As a result, I felt ignored and unwanted. After choosing to shift my perspective, I did not take this disinterest personally, and instead focused on being satisfied with offering assistance. I stopped blaming the people around me for not doing what I thought they should do. Instead, I offered my services through workshops and training in record keeping. I tried to help the community development officers to see the benefits of learning those skills to improve the communities they serve. They loved the SMART goals I introduced. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. They in turn trained the wards in their jurisdiction, which made me very happy. This public note of appreciation circulated in the office on my last day. It meant a lot to me. Good afternoon, colleagues. Let me take this time to let you know that Mr. Jurgen Zirstein from the United States, given the Setswana name Loeto, who was on a Peace Corps mission as a volunteer, has completed his 1-year duration. Mr. Loeto was mainly working with the community and supporting community-based projects. Mr. Loeto offered training to community development officers on computer literacy, project management, etc. He kept a strict schedule and supported clear and concise communication because he came from a culture that placed a great importance on time. Mr. Loeto actively participated in SNCD events such as the Mental Health Forum. He will be heading home today. Safe journey home, Mr. Loeto, and thank you very much for the service rendered. I also shifted my perspective to focus on learning about and appreciating the interdependent web of all existence. I felt the connection of different peoples to one another at a deep level. When Laura and I visited the Cradle of Humankind Museum near Johannesburg in South Africa, this UNESCO World Heritage Site and its museum provided information about the origins of humankind. That is, about Homo sapiensis and its predecessors. I was especially moved by the museum's exhibitions on humankind past and present all over the globe. The museum made a strong statement that although the people of the world may appear to be different in skin color, body size, and other attributes, beneath the surface, there are no meaningful genetic boundaries. We are all one species. While in Botswana, I definitely stepped outside of my comfort zone and connected with people from a wide range of backgrounds. I tried to represent the United States and Germany well and demonstrated that peace, liberty, and justice are at the top of my agenda. My colleagues in Botswana came from different backgrounds and tribes. Their ties with their families and ancestors and religion differ from mine. I learned about their perspectives. I respected them and did not try to prove them wrong. And I experienced the immense beauty and terror of nature. When Laura visited, we explored the interdependent web of immersing ourselves in the natural and animal world. Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe is said to be the largest waterfalls on the planet. In October, we spent 10 days on a mobile safari in the Okavanga Delta in northern Botswana. Mobile means we are based out of a truck and trailer and slept in tents in the bush surrounded by animals. Here you see us with Neo, our cook, and William, our guide. At that time of the year, vegetation is sparse and water supply limited. This makes it easier to find and see the animals. We saw cheetahs, lions, leopards, plenty of elephants, hippos, and many beautiful birds. The crimson-breasted shrike, the great blue-eared starling, and my favorite, the lilac-crested roller. And majestic baobab trees. Once, while across the country, we noticed threatening clouds off to the right. A storm raced towards us and involved us in a murky fog of blowing sand. Quite honestly, we were a bit scared. Fortunately, the storm passed on quickly. We were privileged to visit the rhino sanctuary in Botswana, where all the rhinos have been translocated to protect them from poachers. I know that I impacted lives. I just don't necessarily know which lives and how I touched them, but that's okay. Time may tell for some individuals I met in Botswana. Here are some of the people whose lives Laura and I touched. We arranged to get a laptop donated here in Bowling Green and bring it for Tsaone, the student intern in our office. I left behind the content of my household and gave some of it to Tsaone and my friend Thabang, the night watchman of the guest house I stayed with in the beginning of my service. Here is Tsaone Thabang. And to Ma Magazine, my landlady, in the colorful fabric from her homeland of Zimbabwe, and her granddaughter and the girl. Now I'm back home and thankful for the welcome you all gave me and that I can be with Laura. What changed about my life? I'm less restless and uncertain, but I'm still on my journey, exploring my spirituality and seeking guidance for my growth by joining a chalice circle in this congregation, recently attending a seminar with singer and songwriter Carrie Newcomer, you heard her, and training with the Mankind Project. The experience in Botswana caused me to reflect on my life and the impact I can have on others. It helped me find and focus on areas important to me going forward. The first of these is service. I plan to find ways to serve the marginalized in my home community, and I will contribute service to our congregation and to other organizations like the Mankind Project. The second is coaching and consulting. I will seek opportunities to support small businesses and individuals through coaching. And I will explore opportunities to teach in my areas of expertise in business management. Thirdly, I will find opportunities to grow spiritually and expand the circle of friends who support me in that. Finally, I will pursue learning by attending seminars and retreats and by traveling abroad to experience other cultures and perspectives. I appreciate your support in these endeavors. As the African proverb says, I am because we are. With that spirit, let's join hands. Thank you, Kalebocha.
Thank you very much, Jurgen, for sharing your challenges and successes and tying that in so closely with our UU principles. Next, we will have our offertory. This is our third Sunday where we have a special donation, and Natalie Barman will talk to us about this week's offering.
Thank you. Thank you, Jurgen, for that. That was wonderful. And it's beautiful that I think it was Jurgen or Laura sent me this quote that I'm going to start with here. The idea that democracy is fragile all around the world. It's fragile. It's a fragile form of government. And this is beautifully stated by Zirstein, who was the first president of Botswana, and he said this in 1978. Democracy, like a little plant, does not grow or develop on its own. It must be nursed and nurtured if it is to grow and flourish. It must be delivered in and practiced if it is to be appreciated. And it must be fought for and defended if it is to survive. And he mentioned that their country is going strong. Okay, that's wonderful. So today the collection is going to be for, do you have the slide up? Okay. For the League of Women Voters of Southern Kentucky. We started this league here just a year and a half ago. And the main thing that we've been doing is we have been registering students at high schools, providing that service. And Diane Lewis has been a major organizer of that effort here, but we have lots of volunteers. Would you raise your hand if you're a member of the league or have volunteered to help? Okay, we do have a good representation. But all organizations need a little help monetarily. And the main thing that our group is doing is education, where we help people know where to vote, when to vote, all the different, whether it's early voting or whether it's, mail-in or whatever. So we do provide that education. We are nonpartisan, and the League welcomes everybody from all points of view and political backgrounds. We want to be a nonpartisan group working for the betterment of democracy here in our country. So your donations today will go to our league, our local league. We serve the 7 counties of the Bard, am I correct with Bard or Brad? The Brad district. And if any of you are interested, any of us in the league would love to chat with you because we want to broaden our work. We've been working a lot here in Warren County, and we've been working a lot now in Allen County, partly because I live out in Allen. But we would love to have more volunteers, so you can chat with us anytime. Thank you for your donations.
This is a song which us as the new generation, we found this song playing even in the radios and televisions. This song is being played there. It says Bahamamato Bahamapileza. It's talking about this tribe Bahamamato, which was led by Kama III. So it says Bahamamato Bahamapileza. Sukuma was a fighter. No one, many people they know him that he was a fighter. That is why these guys they managed to. As you know, Soroy became the headquarters of the Central District. This is the biggest district here in Botswana. So they have managed to occupy this big space here through those fights. I mean, the fights whereby the major groups were going around raiding the minorities. That was the fight, the time where people were fighting for land. So that was what I was saying.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for these gifts. May we use them for the betterment of our congregation and this community. If you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or about joining this congregation, please speak with a member of our membership team. Please raise your hands. Okay, or our president, Roseanne Spencer. There she is. Thank you. On the second Sundays of each month after the service, you can join in a question and answer session in the library. So just be aware that the second Sundays is the time open for membership. We have some community news to share. Pizza night and game night, Saturday, May 25th from 5 to 7. It'll be in the fellowship hall. Please bring your own game, bring whoever you like to play with. It's just nice to get together, and we do have pizza. We have a congregational meeting on Sunday, June 9th. It'll be at 12:30 here in the sanctuary. It's important that members and friends know what is going on behind the scenes as far as our finances and other policy decisions that have been made. We'll try to keep it brief. I think we have an auction for the parking space, special parking space, or a drawing, so be prepared to get the new parking space. And on Tuesdays, Ryan Thomas will be offering Tech Tuesdays, and this will be via Zoom, where you can learn more about Google Docs and other ways that we can stay joined electronically. So the next two dates are May 21st, this coming Tuesday, and then May 28th at 5:30. Ryan, would you raise your hand if anybody needs a Zoom address? Then please see Ryan and he will take care of that. We also have a couple other things happening on here at UUCBG. We have our ongoing spring pledge drive. Ken Kuhn has been heading that up, and we are doing great. I think we're already ahead of last year, so just a few more and we will be ready to face the next year much more comfortably. So please respond to him as he hears from you, or speak to him. Ken, would you raise your hand so people will know? There we go. Now, Reverend Deanie would like us to be sending her some digital photos of ourselves at 18 months to 18 years. And Deanie, I don't know what you have planned for that, but.
And any special events in your life.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Okay, anything else? Okay, you can always have more news. We have a newsletter that comes out weekly, and we have lots of information on the bulletin boards around here. All right. Next Sunday service, covenant practice makes perfect. Our final hymn is number 248 in your gray hymnal, Wake Now My Senses. 298. Yes, 298.
Please rise as your will directs.
Our final reading will be given by Ashley Given. Ashley was in the Peace Corps in China from 2007 to 2009, and then again in Uganda from 2012 to 2013. You must have great language skills. Please come forward for your reading.
Thank you. On the grave of Zirstein, the first president of Botswana, are inscribed these words: The world is my church. To do good, my religion. Thank you.
We will now bid farewell to those who have joined us online. We hope you found this service meaningful, and we invite you to join us again, either in person or online. Be well and go in peace.